What's up, guys? Happy Sunday. A little bit earlier show today. I'm Chuck Silver here with DFS Jayhawk. We're with Occupy Fantasy to bring you the strategy for DraftKings and FanDuel. Not thrilled with our performance yesterday. We got hurt by that guy on the Pistons, Killian Hayes, and then, I don't know, everyone on the Grizzlies ended up sitting out, so it became a really tough slate. But we have a better one today. A couple games already under the way. Jayhawk, how we doing?
Yeah, man, definitely a crazy slate last slate with the late Grizzlies news, but we were talking pre-stream. This slate ultimately comes down to LeBron and Luka's status here, so excited to talk about your Lakers and the rest of the slate here.
I'm a little confused right now. My streaming software is not showing me that we're live, but I think we're live. Yeah, we're good. It's not showing me comments, so I'll just read them off the screen. What's up, everybody? Yeah, we're due for a takedown. Looks like Randall's coming back today. It's going to throw a wrench in things. Best price range for mid-range build on FanDuel. I usually consider it like 65 to 75, like 6K to 7K, like in that range, right, Jayhawk?
Yeah, that sounds about perfect.
Yeah, Heath just signed up for the Discord. Nice, dude. I think we have one of the better DFS Discords out there. We're all pretty nice, which to me is a huge deal. And of course, the information is great. But we have 6 games on the main slate. Let's just go ahead and just jump into the first one. This one starts at about 1 hour from now. Knicks in Miami. So the New York Knicks, huh?
The New York Knicks.
Yeah, Josh Hart probable, Mitchell Robinson probable, Huck Porty's out. So, and then we just got new. Oh, it's for tomorrow. But yeah, on the Knicks, not pulling too much ownership. Brunson 13%. Everyone else is single digits. Not a great matchup against Miami. 6.5 point favorites, 221 total. Are you looking at anybody here?
Yeah, so New York here, I think they all look solid in tournaments. Brunson's the chalkiest one here. He'd probably be my favorite click overall here, but for the most part, not a great total, not a great matchup. But if I'm getting to some Brunson, were you thinking differently here with New York?
I'm not really getting much exposure to anyone. I have a few percent of basically everyone that's playing. It's the same thing we've been talking about. We only have 8 guys projected for over 10 minutes for them, and most of it is going to be on the starters. They're all projected for pretty heavy minutes. If this game ends up being close, I could see all of them, plus 2 or 3 minutes. And so I don't mind taking shots on them, but it is the first game. And while I do think the field is a lot better at setting up for later news than they have been, we're not getting as much of an advantage by loading up on those late guys. I still don't think that we want to use too much exposure here. I think I'll mostly be getting to these top 2 guys. I have interest in Cat at 3%. He's been awful, but we've seen what Cat can do. And if no one's interested in playing him, I'll play him today.
Yeah, love that call. And obviously, Josh Hart is always, he can always go for triple double. So I think he has to play at his ownership as well.
Yeah, big thing today. If I'm paying up for these guys, who don't, none of them really stand out in the model. Jalen Brunson's borderline value on DK for the price, but borderline good points per dollar, elite points per dollar, I should say. But I kind of just want to target guys who I think can really put up a ceiling. And while I said it's a low total against Miami, these guys can put up ceilings. And so I think they're a little bit too low owned.
Yep.
Other side of this game with Miami, we just got news that Jaime Jaquez is also out today. They're already going to miss Andrew Wiggins. Nikola Jovic is out for a while. And so I was taking a good look at Khalil Ware. Pull up Miami here on the model. Khalil Ware. Yeah, he's showing up with a 13.3 DK value, 12.8 FanDuel, borderline elite. Ownership's modest. Everyone here is pulling more ownership than New York, though. So I really think if you're getting to 1 or 2 Miami guys, you can take shots on guys on the other side. But who are you looking at from Miami?
Yeah, first of all, I do like that Ware Colt. I think he looks really solid at his price. Good price points. I think he's a solid play. And then I was getting to a decent chunk of Alec Burks as well from this first game. 3,200, no Hawkes as well now. So I think Burks looks even better. And then after that, I think Tyler Hero, you can take stabs at as well. I was getting more Burks than Hero, but I think they're both in play.
Burks is risky, just the minutes volatility. There's no Jaime Jaquez. I think he got hurt during the last game, right? So maybe Alec Burks benefited from that, but we still need him to play well and put up a score. He is 3,200, so he helps with roster construction. With that said, he's projected for 20% ownership on DraftKings. He is the top value on this team. This is elite value, so I don't think we want a full fade, but this is just like I mean, who's been at the top of the model that's been screwing us? Tyus Jones, Cole Anthony, yesterday Killian Hayes. It's a risky guy, and this guy's not even starting. And so we haven't projected for 21 minutes. He's fine. Model approved at 21 minutes. Just we might have some other plays later, so keep that in mind. This is the first game still.
Chuck, you forgot about Kyle Anderson 3 sets ago, DMP after the first hit.
Kyle Anderson, man, this I just completely disagree with what these minutes are. We don't do our own minutes; they're from a third party, but this is like middling it. I don't think it should be 12. The projection should either be like 5 or 6, or it should be 20. This is just like a cop out, and so if you think Kyle Anderson plays 22 minutes, it's Spoelstra. There's no Hawkes, but he still didn't give more time to Kyle Anderson last time when that happened. But I mean, just very easy math. Double the minutes, 25 minutes. He has a 16 DK value that's very elite. So very, very risky. At 0%, he burned everyone last time. But if we thought he was a good play last time, I mean, it's been every other game with him with the minutes, right? Are you getting there?
No, I was just mentioning. I thought you were mentioning guys that have burned us. I was just noting Kyle.
You got me fired up, dude. You mentioned him, and it's a spot. I mean, I guess he has played 10, 11, 12 minutes, but if we're playing him, we have to project him for 20 plus, and I just don't know if we can do that today.
Yep, agreed. Spoelstra is just really a pain in the butt to project him in.
See a comment about Haywood Highsmith. Glad you mentioned him because he is projected as very strong value. He's pulling the ownership too, but he's 3,400. Like I mentioned, no Jaime Hawkes. Typed in Jaime. It'd be kind of surprising if Highsmith wasn't a piece of the rotation today. 29, 27. I don't know. They're missing a couple guys compared to these games, so hopefully he can just play well and stay on the court. Maybe against New York, makes sense if they would want him out there. OG McHale, help with Cat a little bit. So I think Highsmith would be actually the value guy I'd prefer here on this team, and I'm getting more of him than I am Alec Burks.
Yeah, man, it's always tough to navigate these heat value guys, but I think he's definitely in play with Highsmith there.
Duncan Robinson's been going off. Yeah, Duncan Robinson, this is a beyond the model play. He's not going to show up that well. It's hard for a player like him to show up well, but projected for 29 minutes, 7%, 12% ownership, under 5K. This is a good GPP play. Duncan. It's our own Nick Morrow in the chat throwing that one out there. Appreciate you, Nick.
Shout out, Nick.
Yeah, dude, he's been going off, man. If it's just a matter of getting the 29 minutes, I mean, he shot 80% here. It's like better than 50% here, but
I like it.
It's kind of risky. Yeah, I'll take shots, though. I have him in my exposures. And then I'll just mention Davion Mitchell, 44, 4,300. Maybe we get some better value later. It reminds me a little bit of Killian Hayes yesterday. Not quite as popular, but like we all jammed him in, and he actually came in much higher than he was projected for ownership. But then we got really good guard value later, and Killian Hayes just killed us all. So Davion Mitchell, not quite. It's weird to say. He's not as good of a fantasy producer as Killian Hayes, but his minutes are definitely more secure than Killian. So I don't know, 34 minutes. I don't mind mixing him in, but kind of would like to save some spots for later. But I'm with the field, 11%.
Yep, I'm just kind of mixing in all these guys, like you mentioned, Highsmith, Burks, all those guys.
What's our minutes projection on Jaden Springer? We have him for 11. And so Utah is going to be a tough one to navigate, but we'll get into that when we get to that game. Are James and Luka likely to miss tonight? What was your opinion on the Lakers situation, Jayhawk?
Yeah, so I think most likely we see one play. I don't think we likely see two or both sit. And I think there's a very, very real possibility they both just play. So, yeah, that's kind of my take.
I think them both playing is the most likely outcome. Wouldn't be surprised if one misses, but I'm not about to guess who. I mean, LeBron's old, Luka's body's broken, so it's kind of a... we're just guessing. Yeah, maybe we get some coach speak before these other games lock, but we're not going to get that news until 4 games have locked. It's the Minnesota and Phoenix game and Clippers Lakers at the end, but at least we have payups we can swap to. In Phoenix and Minnesota, there's enough guys that we won't be throwing away the salary.
Mm-hmm. And I think Beal's questionable too, right? So
is Beal questionable?
I think so.
Yeah, Beal's questionable. Grayson Allen's probable. So there's definitely plays in that game. You liked Shannon earlier for value. That's dead with all the Wolves playing. Shannon's good. The coach likes him, which is a big thing. And I don't know. He has to play Mike Conley, but if Terrence Shannon can take some minutes from Conley, that'd be great. And Dante's back too, so it just muddies things up. Let's jump to this next game, though, Toronto and Orlando. getting a little bit of exposure to the big three, and then always going to take shots on Grady Dick, I guess. Not model approved today, though. What do you think about this team?
Yeah, so overall, I think Toronto's probably my least favorite team here. 210 total, tough matchup, slow pace. Yeah, I agree. I think if I was getting to one, it would be Grady Dick for value, but I'm not really getting to much here overall.
Yeah, I'm not getting more than 10% of anyone, but I do want to take shots on Scotty, RJ, Manuel quickly. Terrible matchup. Hate playing guys against Orlando. We just saw Steph carve him up, and now Steph is an anomaly, so that's completely different than Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel quickly. But at their low ownership, I've been talking about the last few slates, like GPP plays. Nothing stands out about the situation, but they're all good at basketball. They can all have a good game. And at the ownership, if you're making a set of 150 lineups, I just think you want to get some exposure to all of them.
Yep, I think that's valid for sure.
Not really interested in anything else here. Like Pirtle, the minutes are kind of weird. His price is down on DK 5,800 at 1%, but I just don't know if we can take those shots. I mean, we've seen him get there in low minutes before, so he's definitely capable of it, but I think we have better options today.
Yeah, definitely better options.
Other side of this game, Orlando, though. So we saw Paolo blow up last game. Were you looking at him or Franz?
Yeah, I like them both here. Both of them, I think, are in a great spot against the Toronto uh, team overall here. I did slightly lean Paulo for 8K, but they're both so cheap in good spots here. So totally fine with either one. How about
As
you?
of right, as of right now, I'm right about 20% on both of them on DK. And then I haven't talked about FanDuel this show yet. Give me 1 second, guys. I'll pull that up. And then on FanDuel, these guys getting more Franz. I'm not sure why that is. Basically the same price. And if I'm getting the same amount on DK, you think I'd get the same on FanDuel. I haven't projected the same. It's interesting. It's kind of a toss up. Model has them essentially as a coin flip. And so, do you have anything that you could do to differentiate these two, help us make a better decision, or are we just flipping a coin here?
I would say if the ownership gets any higher on FanDuel, I'd probably want to get some more Banchero. But as of like right now, I think it's probably fine just to flip a coin.
It's interesting how that works, though, right? $100, and I guess I do have Franz for less than one fantasy point more than Paolo, but it's kind of a big difference in ownership. I think I'd like to pivot that to a Paolo or just play the same of both.
Yeah, I love that call.
Like I said, they're projected the same.
It's pretty much a coin flip, yeah.
And then Cole Anthony, man, mentioned him a couple times already. He's borderline elite points per dollar value on DK. Same on FanDuel, 53, 5,400. No one wants to play him. These are the days we play Cole Anthony, right? Like, we probably have to play him on days he's chalk too, but if we're playing him on days he's chalk, I think we should be playing him on days like today. Toronto's not a terrible matchup for these guys. Anyone else on Orlando that you were interested in?
Yeah, so Wendell, I want to play because it's a good matchup, but the price just isn't great. 6 and 7%. Like, I would love to play him here if he was cheaper. Good spot. But yeah, you mentioned Cole Anthony. I think he's super interesting. 2% owned, good spot. Especially if you're not getting to Paulo or Franz. I think Anthony makes for a really strong play.
I'd be cool playing him alongside of either of those guys as well.
Yeah.
And then on your Wendell call, I talked about this earlier in the year. It seems like the coach likes Wendell right now more than Goga. And for a while, like, he flip flops, but Wendell's getting more minutes. Like you said, the price makes it kind of hard for him to hit the ceiling. But 6 and 7%, he still projects as good value. He's the best points per dollar play after Cole Anthony on this team. FanDuel, he's the best points per dollar play, but I don't think we want to use our center spot on him. But I'm okay getting a few. I'm definitely okay not playing him at all today, though.
Yep, that's exactly how I see it too.
Hey, Jayhawk, which combo do you like more, Trey Murphy and Hartenstein or LeBron and Ware? I can tell you for me, it's the second one.
Definitely the second one.
Yeah, it's like, so Chet's out. Hartenstein is going to be in line for a few minutes. This is the next team we're talking about, the Thunder and Spurs. So let's just jump into that. 27 minutes. Do you know when the last time Chet didn't play? I'm assuming it's right around here. And so Hartenstein, 30 plus minutes. We have him projected for 27. Might be a low minutes projection. I'm comfortable giving him one or two more than that. It's a massive spread, 12 and a half, 238 total, though, against the Spurs. I don't think the Spurs are pushovers, but OKC is better than Boston, so I'm not going to project, Spurs keeping this one close. But what do you like from OKC?
Yeah, so like as of right now, my highest exposed is J-Dub, Jalen Williams, 21%. He
Mm-hmm.
just fits a pretty, not necessarily weak forward position, but I think he looks good. And then I think Hardenstein's solid. 6,400 is, in my opinion, too cheap on DraftKings. Good matchup. So I like Hardenstein as well. And then I wanted to hear your take here on the value guys. Case and Wallace, Wiggins, Caruso. I know it's kind of a broken record. We don't love them, but did you have a different stand today?
Dude, so the last few days, it's so interesting how the model is like really good at playing these matchups. The last few days, the none of the OKC value guys, I think 3 slates in a row, none of them have showed up as value. Maybe Lou Dort on one of the sites on FanDuel, but none of them were like model approved really for those days. And granted, we had better value; we didn't have to consider them anyway. Today, Lou Dort and Case and Wallace are very model approved. And I don't know if that's just Chet coming out of the rotation. There's more minutes to go around, but we have them both projected for 29 minutes. Very good value scores. Case on Wallace getting the ownership 4,100, 15%. I love it. This is one of my favorite value plays of the day that's not getting as much love, although I wouldn't be surprised if he came in a little higher. And then Lou Dort, like the closer he gets to 5K, the less I like him. But at 6% ownership, he is the top value on this team. So I think we want to get some shots in there.
Yeah, I like that Case and Cole. I think he's probably my favorite as well for value here.
What's interesting, though, is the value guy I'm getting the most of is Aaron Wiggins, who the model is not identifying today. But we've seen Aaron Wiggins turn into Kobe on more than a couple occasions this season, projected for 27 minutes. And so maybe this ownership is a little high. We can get a little bit more to these guys, save a couple $100. But I think we still want to get to Aaron Wiggins, even though the model's telling us he's not as strong today.
Yeah, man, I would love to get a Kobe performance out of Wiggins today.
He's pulling the ownership, so it's not like we're going to get crazy leverage, but, if he is one of the better value guys today, that's going to be pretty strong. And then I do want to mention Caruso showing up as elite points per dollar value on both sides, 4,300. The ownership kind of seems high, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Fine with him as well.
And then, saved SGA for last, I guess. Points per dollar, he's great. 14.4 OF index, at the top of the model, he's got to be right. By quite a bit, actually, too. Pulling lowish ownership. We don't have the greatest value today, but maybe we get some value later that makes our lineups look better by the time those games start. I'm thinking the Lakers. I'm getting to some SGA, not a jam. I'm over this 10% a little bit, though.
Yeah, I think he's solid. Guard is pretty good today, but, SGA always has a huge ceiling, so fine with him at the ownership there.
And that was all for DK. The differences on FanDuel, I'm still getting to everyone, but yeah, still Aaron Wiggins is a value guy that I got the most on FanDuel on my initial run, so I have to adjust that a little bit. Other side of this game, this is the team that I was most looking forward, or I guess not looking forward to talking about today, because I don't think that we can predict their rotation reliably at all. Like Chris Paul played 20 minutes yesterday. We had him projected for 27, I think. We have him projected for 25 today. And then Stephon Castle, we've been projecting for low 20s. He's projected for 29. He's been crushing. Stephon Castle, 32, 30 minutes. It's like, maybe at the low end, hopefully he can get up to 26. It seems like the coach wants to play him, right? And I'm getting a ton of Stephon Castle. Were you looking at, where does he fit in for you on today's slate?
Yeah, so that's a great shout because I was going to note shooting guard is pretty bad on DraftKings today. Castle makes sense as a really good run back here. Good price on both sides, and he fits builds pretty well, like you mentioned. He's probably my favorite play here. And then Keldon Johnson, I wanted to hear your take on him. I ended up getting off a lot of Keldon last night, but are you back on him tonight, or how do you feel about the rest of the Spurs here?
4,600 on DK. Yeah, when I was building my dummy, I think all their prices came down on the Spurs. Keldon Johnson. I'm getting a lot of Keldon Johnson. Yeah, he fits in 4,600. And like I said, coach is really comfortable playing him 29, 30 minutes. Like 3 of the last 5 games, he's played 29 plus minutes. And those other 2, he's still played 24. We only have him projected for 27. If he gets those extra 3 minutes, he's going to look pretty good. What was his ownership? 16 and 3%. I think it's fine. And then the 54%, he's not quite looking as great value on FanDuel. Model's telling us he's not good. But at 3%, like if he gets that 30 plus minutes, give him an extra 6 minutes. It's pretty huge.
Yeah, he's a great producer as well. So definitely a good shot.
For DK, the model likes Keldon Johnson. Model really likes Devin Vassell on DK, though, at 5,500. I don't hate it. 4% ownership. The price is very appealing to me. And so I'm over on Devin Vassell on DK at least.
Yeah, I wasn't getting much, but he's in a good price and also fits that shooting guard build. So I don't hate it.
I want to say his points assist line was super low today, though, like 15.5. I took the over. not much confidence though. He's been playing really poorly. Minutes haven't been there. I mean, isn't this the highest paid player on this team? Devin Vassell. Sorry, don't want to mispronounce his name here.
Is he really? That's
I
crazy.
think I think well he was. I don't know about this season. Last year, I'm almost positive he was the highest paid player. He signed a huge contract. Anything else on the Spurs?
That's about it. Fox had a really bad showing last game, projected for 5% ownership. I don't love the spot here for Fox.
It's hard for me to want to get to Fox for the same reason it's hard to get to Chris Paul. I have no confidence in the minutes. Like if he could randomly play 28 or 30 minutes, this wasn't a complete blowout. It's just really hard. And I know he got there in this game. He's back down to 8,200. It's a lot better than the 87 or whatever he was at. Tough matchup against OKC. That's all he is today is a GPP play. And model is saying it's not even a 10.0 OF index. So
Yep, I'm cool getting off him as well.
Pelicans, Utah. This is a really good game for fantasy. So for the Pelicans side, I was about to say they're fully healthy. They're still missing Herb Jones, Brandon Boston, and DeJounte. But like the guys that have been in, everyone's good to go. We'll have to see what they do with their starting lineup. I think Makovich ended up coming off the bench. They started Bruce Brown at the point last time, which went as well as you would think it did. But yeah, what do we do with this team?
Yeah, so I'm actually really intrigued with New Orleans here. I feel like all these guys have pretty big ceilings in this matchup. All three of the studs, Zion, Murphy, CJ. Honestly, fine with any of them. I do prefer Zion and Murphy, but they're also chalkier. So I think they're both great tournament plays. And then I did want to hear your take on Kelly Olynyk because I didn't know what to do with him today. 12% owned. Yeah. What's your kind of take here with New Orleans?
All right, what's Bull's price today? That's my question. You ask about Kelly Olynyk. Bull is 5,400. Kelly Olynyk's 5,100 on DK. Bull's a lot more expensive on FanDuel. I bring that up because last time they were both exactly 5K. I got 20th in the Minimax in the lineup that had Kelly O, and I had so much Bull, but I just lost that coin flip. Got Kelly O in that lineup. Would have got second. Would have been nice. As to for your question about Kelly O, rather than me just tilting my 12%, 11%. I don't hate it. Model thinks he's fine for the value. I kind of look at him as like a better small field play than large field, but he's still fine in large fields. He's getting the minutes projected for 24. Maybe he can play a couple more.
Yeah, I think he's okay to me.
I already knew who was going to be the top value on this team before I even opened it up. It's Ves Missy, projected for 27.1 minutes. This was one of the player props I hit the hardest today. The line already moved though for points plus rebounds. I mean, 26, 29, 28. Yeah, he could jump back down to this 23, 24, but against Utah, maybe they want to keep him in. I look at Utah as a team that we can take advantage of with like bigger players, not necessarily just big men. But yeah, Ves Missy, I'm getting to him. And then as for the big three, Zion, Trey Murphy, and CJ. I like Zion. I like Trey. I don't like CJ, but I'm getting there. Models identifying him as a strong value. So I think we should have some exposure. We can't just cross him out because he's been playing poorly.
Yeah.
Jose Alvarado off the bench, Jordan Hawkins, Bruce Brown, anything on those guys? Or Carlo Makovich, I guess, all these like secondary guys. What do you want to do?
So these guys are tough with CJ back in here. I think Hawkins is just probably a tad bit overpriced. I'm not really getting to much else off the bench here. Maybe Jose, but he's kind of priced up as well.
So last game they started Bruce Brown, Hawkins, Trey Murphy, Zion, and Misi, right?
Yeah.
With CJ back, does Hawkins stay in that starting lineup?
Potentially, I think they probably played. Aren't they starting Kelly O, the 4? Maybe or am I wrong on that?
Oh, wait. CJ, Missy, Williamson, Kelly O. I thought Bruce Brown and Hawkins started. If someone in the chat knows, let me know. But either way, whoever starts is going to be our preference here for the value guys. Their prices are all fine. Their ownerships are going to go up. Yeah, they did start, so I'm not sure what I'm thinking of. CJ was out. That's what's messing me up. Kelly O, Trey Murphy, Ves Missy.
Zion.
I'm still missing a player. Sorry, guys. I'm spending too long on this. Just look out for the starting lineup. Whoever starts is going to be good. Whoever comes off the bench is going to be less good, but they're a pivot to the starter. Zion missed. There you go. Olynyk didn't start. It was a back-to-back. Okay. All right. Well, like I said, just watch out for that starting lineup. And they've been mixing it up every game. Maybe they start Jose Alvarado next to CJ. You never know. If he ends up starting, I'll have interest off the bench. It doesn't seem like they like him too much right now. He's not closing. Yeah, starting lineup's a crapshoot.
True.
From the Utah side, we're missing Walker Kessler, Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, Laurie Markkinen, Taylor Hendricks, Colin Sexton. So it's another one of these nights. Obviously, they're pulling all the ownership. I'm getting 30% plus of 4 different players here. Jayhawk, tell us about Utah, man.
Yeah, it seems like we've talked about Utah almost every other slate here, but yeah, Utah is probably the best team to target overall here. Starting with Filipowski, probably your chalkiest play on the slate. Super high ownerships both sides. I think he's probably the cash game center as of right now. And then I wanted to hear your take, but I think Keontae and Collier both solid. I do kind of prefer Collier for like 10% less ownership. And then I think Sensabaugh is fine as well. The kind of worry I have with Sensabaugh is he mainly scores. He doesn't really do much else. So his ceiling, in my opinion, is slightly capped, but he's still going to look really good. So what's your kind of take here with Utah?
Just to close that New Orleans loop, yeah, that lineup was Trey Murphy, Hawkins, Kelly Olynyk, Bruce Brown, Yves Missy.
Okay.
Zion did miss, so apologies for that. Just wasted way too much time. Thanks, guys, in the chat. But just watch that starting lineup. It changes every game, so I don't think we can really dive into that now. As for Utah, though, talked about this with Collier and Keontae George. In general, I'm going to prefer Collier, but I do recognize that Keontae probably has a higher ceiling. Utah likes Collier more, at least for they want Collier to be the starting point guard. They don't want Keontae George to be a point guard, not the starting point guard anyway. I look at Keontae just give him the ball, he's going to shoot. Collier, I mentioned this before, he might lead the league in assists one day. I didn't realize he was a number 1 recruit out of high school a couple of years ago. He went to USC, drafted 29th overall, so not that high of a pet. Like, I guess his college career didn't go great the 1 year. But Collier, 28 and 44%. Model's telling us he's a fade today. So are we going to listen? You said you liked him, I know.
Yeah, I think I just like him a little bit more because Keontae is like 40% owned, but I think they're both, solid.
Now, when I say model saying he's a fade, it's just points per dollar. There's better 6K plays out there. 6.20 if index is not great. He's projected for 30.5 minutes. What I'll say with Collier is I think, like similar to the other guy I mentioned, Wendell Carter, I think he's a really good small field play. He's unlikely to burn you. Also probably unlikely to give you a good ceiling. And so maybe he's like a base building block. You can play him in high field, high risk, large field stuff too. But I mean, FanDuel, I'd like him more on FanDuel at 5,900, even though the ownership is much higher. Just it feels like a guy that it's really hard for him to burn us. So small field satty stuff, I love him.
Yep, I think he's definitely a safe play for sure.
Oh, man. Kyle Filipowski and Bryce Sensabaugh are the players I'm getting the most from this team, though, taking a lot of shots on Keontae George, getting there on KJ Martin, Svi, and some percents of Johnny Juzang and Micah Potter. Basically playing everyone. Look out for that starting lineup. You have any predictions on who that's going to be?
I think Keontae off the bench, and then probably Filipowski, Sensabaugh, Collier, Martin, and someone else. I don't know what the last spot's going to be, to be honest.
Probably Johnny Juzang.
Yeah, probably Juzang.
So that's a good call. KJ Martin, 19%, dude. I had interest, but not at this ownership. This is dumb.
Yeah. Everyone, man, is just insanely chalky.
Oh, he's projected kind of crazy on some other sites right now. They have his minutes jacked up. We have him for 29, which is fine. It's just he's on the court a lot. His fantasy production's been bad. They're missing their other good big men, though. So maybe he can finally get some shots.
Yeah, I mean, KJ Martin's a good DFS player too, so I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Model's telling us we can kind of get away from it a little bit. Model strongly prefers Bryce Sensabaugh. He's pulling more ownership, but that's okay. And then Kyle Filipowski. This might be the first guy in my dummy today, Kyle Filipowski.
Yep, agreed.
I think this is the best play on the slate.
Yeah.
Model approved, super model approved. Let's go to Minnesota Phoenix. So I guess we're getting some guys back tonight. Ant's questionable. Julius Randle is probable. So expect him back. Rudy Gobert's still out. Dante Vincenzo's back. So team's getting back together. We still have Terrence Shannon down here projected for 12 minutes. What are you looking at on Minnesota at the top end and or value guys?
Yeah, so you mentioned that Randle and Dante are back here. I think Anthony Edwards, he's projected, 20% on both sides here. he's fine. I feel like this game probably suits him pretty good going up against D-Buck here. But yeah, Ant's probably my favorite. Nas, I don't love here just because Randall's back. But yeah, it's mainly just Ant for me. How about you?
Yeah, it's the only guy I'm getting double-digit ownership to is Ant on DK over on FanDuel. Same. Yeah, just Ant. I'm taking shots on everyone else here. I think I am going to bump up Nas Reed a little bit. I really like him, even though Randall's back. And then Jaden McDaniels, I want to love him, but his price is getting really hard to play him. But at 3 and 5%, we've seen him put up 50-point games way more frequently than he's supposed to. So maybe you can go back to that tonight. Julius showing up as a top value here. Are you considering him? What do we do?
Yeah, so Julius, I did not really know what to do with him. I wasn't really expecting to get there, but did you have a different take?
I got 2%.
Okay.
Seems fine to me. He's 64 and 6,600. Maybe we get some comments about the minutes before the game. This game starts late, so swaps will be more limited, but there's still plenty of options at all the price ranges in the last two games. So it's not a disaster if you go into those later games with a lineup that has Randall. What do you think the starting lineup is?
Ants, McDaniels,
Randall.
Randall, Conley. Has Conley been switched?
Yeah, Conley's going to start.
Yeah, Conley.
I think Nas Reed. It makes the most sense, but maybe
Probably.
if they want to have him come off the bench, he's been playing so well though. This might be their best big man. Like he might be better than Julius Randle at this point.
Yeah, he's been balling. Yeah.
Watch that starting lineup though. 10.1 OF index. Value scores are not elite, but they're still okay. 79 to 8,200 at 4 and 5%, dude. I'll be over this 4 and 5% for sure.
It's a good matchup, man. Him and Ant can definitely light it up this matchup.
Yeah, because honestly, you could say, well, he's priced for Randall to be out. I think that this is the appropriate price with this team. I think he should have been more expensive when Randall's been out, but they didn't raise his price fast enough. Yeah, T-Eds, that sounds right. Is Sensabaugh starting tonight? I would expect Sensabaugh to start. I guess I was thinking about that when we switched off Utah. Sensabaugh's going to be a building block tonight, too. He's the top value here, projected for high ownership, but along with Filipowski, he's probably going to be one of my main building blocks today. Yeah, he's my second highest exposed player, actually.
Yep, Sensabaugh, fantastic play.
All right, guys, we got about 10 more minutes before we're going to try to get out of here. Jayhawk's going to do another quick refresher in the Discord after this. Instructions to join that are in the description below. If you like what we're talking about, you want to see the updates to the model later. It's very important because days like yesterday, the slate just completely changed. You need to know what to do with Memphis if you're following our info. Sign up for the site, occupyfantasy.com. We have plans starting at as little as $7 a week. It's $1 a day. Get access to our write-ups for the sports we offer it and the model for the sports that we offer them for. Nick Richards, Bol, two guys I'm getting from this team. Bradley Beal's questionable. Grayson's probable. Monte Morris questionable. Maybe that takes away a couple minutes from someone else. But what's your interest in the Suns here?
Yeah, so the Suns here, I think, kind of comes down to if Beal plays or doesn't. If he doesn't play, going to have a bunch of interest in Tyus Jones once again here. 4,400. I still think that's too cheap. And then, yeah, Bol as well, I think would get a pretty sizable bump here if Beal doesn't play. And then if Beal does play here, it's pretty much a wash here for me overall for Phoenix.
So I'm on the other side of you, Tyus Jones. I think he's an awful play today because I'm not expecting him to start. But because no one wants to play him, I'm going to have interest at 0% ownership. Yeah, I don't think he starts today. Model thinks he's a terrible, terrible play at 17 minutes. But remember, this is projected on 17 minutes. Things could change. Maybe he ends up starting. He's been playing well. I don't think there's room, though. They're going to start these four with these five right here. So unless they think Tyus has been playing so well that they need to bring Beal off the bench. But Beal's been crushing when he's in, so I'm going to have interest in Beal. He's only projected for 10 and 14% ownership.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard for me to get Tyus. I got to bump him up so much just to take those shots. I'm not sure it's worth it. He's probably worth taking a couple shots because the industry thinks he's just awful today. And so for that reason only, I think we can play him a little bit.
Yeah, it'd just mainly be if he started with Beal out. I would like him more.
KD and Devin Booker. Basically a coin flip on the model.
I lean Booker, but it's close.
I typically am always going to lean Booker, but for me, I usually have him projected very similar. Today I have him a difference of 0.2 in fantasy point projection. And so I basically just let the value dictate who I get more of. Like if there's good guard value, I'm going to get more KD. If there's good forward value, I'm going to get more D book. And today, I'm not really getting much of either of them, but I think there were some shots for sure. It's half point spread, 233.5 total. Like, don't ignore the Suns from this game.
Yep, and the douche would tell you the same thing. So play some Suns in
And
tournaments.
then Bobo, 5,400. Even with Beal back, this ownership feels a little bit light on FanDuel. Yeah, he's 6,200, but 4%. I think we can take a couple of shots there. He does have that power forward eligibility, which is huge.
Love Bowl in tournaments always.
Let me see, Bobo on FanDuel. I have more than the 4%. I'm okay with it. Not much. And we have one last game, Clippers and my Lakers. We just saw these two teams square up. The Lakers dominated the Clippers, obviously, as we always do. But let's start with the Clippers side. I'm getting a little bit of exposure to Zubac, Kawhi. Norm Powell's probable for tonight. Derek Jones is out. Ben Simmons questionable. Sorry, I just mixed in. But Zubac, Kawhi, Powell, Chris Dunn, James Harden are the players I'm getting exposure to here. Just some shots on each of these guys, but does anyone stand out to you here?
Yeah, so kind of chalky take, but Zubac is my favorite play here. I think he's in a really good spot here against the Lakers. Obviously, going up against Jackson Hayes, pretty favorable matchup for Zubac here. So he's my highest owned. I'm around that ownership. And then everyone else I'm fine with. I guess Harden would probably be my second favorite target, but did you have a different take here?
I'm not getting much Harden at all. 9,700. I mean, if you're going to pay up to be contrarian, I'm okay with that. Model thinks he's not a good points per dollar play, but 11.60 or OF index, I'm sorry, seems pretty good at 1% ownership. I do prefer Kawhi here tonight, though, but Zubac is the guy I'm getting the most of. 10.5 OF index, elite value on both sites, projected for right around 10% ownership. He just crushed us, didn't he? Didn't he just put up like 50 on Jackson Hayes?
Yeah, that's why I like him.
It's the same matchup tonight. Yeah, he put up 49. He's been really good. This is easily the guy that I feel most comfortable playing here. Not jamming him in or anything, but I do have more than this 9% he's projected for. And then Chris Dunn's the other guy. I'm going to keep over projecting him every day because I think he kind of has been overperforming every day. Model thinks he's fine at 2 and 3% ownership. This is a value pivot at right around 5K if you need it. Anything else from anyone else here?
No, I didn't mention Kawhi. I think he's fine as well. I think that's a good GPP play there.
I will mention the model's not into it, but I am. You know, I have a little bit more than the 6%, and so it's probably okay.
Yeah.
But model is not identifying him as a strong play. I mean, they're 4-point favorites, 220 total. They shouldn't be favorites if we're all healthy. I wonder if someone's sitting.
Yeah, that kind of scares me.
If the Lakers win tonight, we're the second seed. Denver lost to Boston this morning. Like, do you know the chances of this happening this season? We're so low, and we're just on a roll right now. I hope that LeBron and Luka both play because it's going to put a wrench in it if either one of them sit. Luka's not been great. He hasn't been the Luka that we know. It's like the same thing that every role player's problem coming to LA, they can't shoot anymore, and somehow it affects Luka. It blows my mind. But getting a bunch of LeBron, getting a little Luka, and then just a few pieces of like everyone else. But do you have a preference between those top two guys, and is there anyone else here you're interested in?
So I was getting slightly more LeBron here just for the position eligibility. So I have slightly more Braun, but I think Luka's fine as well. Guard is just very loaded to me tonight. So slightly more Braun, but I think Luka's obviously great if he plays.
I'm getting a lot more Braun than Luka, but I'm still over the field on Luka. 16% is not that much. I'm over this 25% for sure.
Chuck, do you know? I'm pretty sure a couple of Sundays ago, like LeBron has historically sat on some Sundays. Do you think that's like a real thing, or do you think that is like
it's pure coincidence if it's on Sundays? It's not a thing. No. But I mean, if you know me, you know that I hate any type of last 10, last 5, the last 14 out of 15 at home, whatever. Like all that stuff is so irrelevant and it's just noise. Something to keep in mind though, they are like probably true 50-50. So just keep an eye on the news. We want to see how the model reacts. If either, like, let's say, okay, I guess if both of them sit, we're going to have to look at, this is the worst team in NBA history, right? We're going to put the worst lineup ever on the court tonight, but who can we play from this group? Like, who can we have interest in? Because even if one of them misses, someone's going to step up here. No Austin Reeves. Is it connect? Like, Jared Vanderbilt's not a great fantasy producer. I don't know if he can play over 20 minutes. DFS, again, dude, this guy has been awful. But we haven't projected for 32. What are you looking at?
Yeah, so they both sit. Definitely like connect, like you mentioned. Penny Smith, he's fine. I still don't think he changes that much. He's not really a usage hog, so I think he'd just be fine. And then, what's your take on Shake Milton? 3K flat. Do you think he would be potentially in play as a min price punt?
Yeah, this is a guy that you're definitely going beyond the model if you're playing him. Poor value, poor OF index, 1% ownership, but we've seen him randomly get minutes, and I don't know if JJ Redick likes him, but he does stuff when he's on the court. So if anyone else misses, if LeBron or Luka miss, he's a candidate. They have been playing Gabe Vincent a bunch, though, which, to be fair to Gabe Vincent, he's been playing better lately. Still don't love this guy, but yeah. Jordan Goodwin's the guy who we've been raving about, though. We got to decide who to cut so we can keep him for the playoffs. But he's out tonight, so maybe it's a couple more minutes for Vincent or Shake.
Yep, agreed.
Let's build a quick dummy and get out of here.
Let's do it.
All right, so I already mentioned Filipowski's the first player in mine. Are you cool with throwing Sensabaugh in there too?
Yep, definitely sensible.
And then who's the next player for you?
Probably one of the guards, Utah guards, Keontae or Collier.
Which one is higher on the model? Keontae's higher today. Let's go with Keontae.
Okay. Yep.
So we got 3 Utah guys. Did you want to run it back with someone on New Orleans?
Let's do it. Yeah, I think there's a bunch of good New Orleans plays.
Let's see. Top value in the model for New Orleans: Aves Missy, McCollum, Williamson, Trey Murphy, Kelly. None of them like. So this is kind of like I look at Brooklyn every day. I know I want some exposure here, but to who?
Yeah, that's fair.
Should we? I'm just gonna plug in Misi since he's the top value here, but you can mix and match a couple of these guys, I guess. Misi. I don't want to take up both center spots. Let's hold off on that for now. Who's the next guy after beyond Utah?
I want to say LeBron, but it's super chalky.
My answer is LeBron.
Okay, let's go LeBron.
Yeah, these are my 4 highest exposed players right now. It might change as these games get closer, but that's where I'm at.
Is there any other value guys you like?
Haywood Highsmith.
Okay, I was gonna say Highsmith or Burks. I don't love Burks though.
Oh yes, thank you for mentioning Burks. The Heat are starting Tyler Harrow, Davion Mitchell, Burks, Alec Burks, Adebayo, and Ware. So Burks starting, not Highsmith. So actually, let's go with Burks here.
Okay.
Let's do a quick model refresh and see if the model's in love with Burks. I can't imagine it's going to be. He's not good. Miami, DK value. I'm an idiot. He's the best value on the whole slate. Ignored Luke Cornett. That's from earlier. So what do we do with Burks, dude? Do we play him? Do we jam him?
It just scares me. I want to, but it's something about Spoelstra, man. I feel like he's going to troll us.
Gabe Vincent showing up as a really strong value at 3% ownership. This is the pivot if you need one. And trust me, I know what I'm saying when I say, hey, you can take shots on Gabe Vincent tonight. He's done it before. He'll do it again, especially if someone's out. He has the opportunity tonight. So this is probably an ownership we want to get over on. I know it's gross.
Yeah, especially if one of those guys hits, like you mentioned.
So we still have 7K. You can kind of do whatever you want with these last 3 spots. I mean,
yeah.
Who's a pay up you like?
Pay up I like. Let's see. I like Banchero, Franz.
Yeah, let's plug in. That's a good one because you can kind of do Franz, Scotty, Banchero, Trey Murphy, Naz Reid. These guys are all within 100 of each other. We could probably even fit in 2 of them. Let's try Paolo. Let's just throw like a Naz Reid in there, but you want to get to one of those other 8K guys, it's obviously fine. Leaves us 5K for a guard. Love Chris Dunn here. Nick mentioned Duncan Robinson earlier. Jordan Hawkins. There are other options here.
Yeah. I think those top 5 definitely really good core though.
I think this is going to be the Occupy core today. This is just looking at the model. This seems to be what the model wants to do. Let me check on Keontae real quick, though. I'm surprised that I have that much of him. Model thinks he's fine, so I'm probably going to come down on it. This ownership is probably way too high, but he's still a good play. It's just his usage is so high. No one else is here tonight. But model saying he's not a great points per dollar value. So maybe for large field, we take that risk, and smaller field stuff, it's like he's still a good play in small field, though. I can't say to fade him there.
Yeah, he's a solid play.
I'll say 8.1 OF index at the price is still good, though. Even though points per dollar, the model's not identifying him. 32 minutes. We've seen Keontae do it lately, so I'm still going to play him a bunch. Anything else you want to mention before you transition to your Discord sesh? We have about 10 minutes, fellas.
No, I think we're good.
Appreciate you guys tuning in today. Do us a favor and hit that like and subscribe on the way out. And good luck tonight. We'll see you in the Discord.